So fashion is an important and exciting topic in the metaverse, and some of my favorites. Yeah? I love to dress my avatar for virtual situations in the metaverse, and one of the famous companies in this space is the Fabricant studio. They have exciting experiences for its community and partnering with the world of women and building their own metaverse with Holland. So we were curious what's next in the space, and here is Nirmala Shome from the Fabricant studio.
Hi everyone. So great to be here at DMEXCO. This is my first time and I have to say it's so big, but really fun to be here. So I'm Nirmala, I'm head of marketing and growth at the Fabricant. We are a digital fashion house. For anyone who hasn't heard of what the Fabricant is or what we do, we've launched in 2018. We were the world's first digital-only fashion house. And I'm going to go through a little bit about what that means to be a digital-only fashion house, but also why, importantly, we chose to build our platform and our mission using Web3 technology. And also run through a lot of examples and collaborations we've done and how we've leveraged Web3 to kind of really expand and build our audience. So first of all, the key reason that the Fabricant exists is we believe that we can build a new fashion industry where everybody profits. Really important, everybody profits, and that's exactly why Web3 is such a critical part of our tech set. We're currently living in a world where we're all living digital lifestyles already, whether we know it or accept it or not. We're constantly using social media. We do, the pandemic really brought us face to face with doing a lot of virtual calls. We spent a lot of our time interacting and representing ourselves in virtual spaces. The fact is that the digital fashion industry itself is already projected to reach 150 billion by 2027. This is from McKinsey. And we also hear a lot of things, not just from Roblox, which is what this quote's from, about how the next digital fashion generation is not going to come from the traditional schools, but they're going to come from virtual spaces like gaming environments, social media. We already see, like with the influencer generation, how the new stars, the new kind of creators, the new influencers are coming from virtual spaces. And at the Fabricant, we really believe that your digital fashion wardrobe will actually be bigger than your physical wardrobe. The fact is that producing physical clothing is getting more expensive and harder in the world today. And a lot of brands are actually looking at how they can bring digital fashion into what they offer. But obviously, it's a complicated process, and a lot of them do get stuck. So that's why at the Fabricant, we really try, with all our collections, showcase what is possible and how brands and creators can use digital fashion to kind of not only, sustain their business, but help it grow and expand into totally new and different ways. Now, at the Fabricant, so we're a digital-only fashion house. We produce virtual collections. Our whole career, we are producing 3D clothing, and we have collaborated with a lot of brands during that time to not only help them with, say, their internal collection production, but also with their marketing creative, their activations, campaigns, and I'm going to run through a little bit about that after this. But we also have a platform. This is something that we launched in 2021, built on blockchain, where people can actually come and mint their own unique fashion item using a co-creation tool or an original item of multi-edition. And with that, they're able to own the item, they're able to trade it, they can connect it to our augmented reality app and wear it, but it is an asset on blockchain. And for us, this was really important. And really, when Web3 came around, it gave us, that was a sign that we were ready to launch this platform. Before that, we were really working with brands, helping them do collections, working in more of a capacity of a service agency. But when we saw Web3 in the movement, we're like, okay, this is time where we can actually launch our platform and invite people in to kind of be part of this new fashion economy. So really what we're trying to enable by starting with digital only, but then also using the technology, is connecting these pieces across a whole universe of virtual spaces. So for example, minting an item on the Fabricant will then allow you to connect it to an AR filter. It will allow you to bring it into, say, a game world or a metaverse, and it also allows you to trade it. It holds its value, and I think that's really the power of Web3, not just for digital, but for physical as well. And we see a lot of physical brands seeing how Web3 technology can help validate and authenticate their items in a market that is full of scams and frauds and fakes. Working in this space too, we've had to kind of group together a very unique collection, I'd say, of collaborators to kind of partner with us to help us really usher in this new phase of the fashion world. So obviously we work with fashion brands and fashion publishers. That's a really critical part of the business, the fashion storytelling, the actual creative side of it. But then we also, because of the reliance on technology, we have to kind of work with, obviously, technology partners, software companies, a few of those being Unreal Engine, a game engine. All of our garments are actually now designed ready for Unreal, which is a huge achievement for us. We work with Clo3D, obviously, to create the garments, to do all the prototyping and sampling, and then Snap technology for AR filters. But then we also have our interoperability partners, and these are the people that we can kind of work with to bring digital fashion into new spaces, new virtual spaces. So it's really kind of, I think, like, this digital first approach to fashion allows you to work with a very unique group of people, unique partners that really bridge the worlds of fashion and gaming and technology and visual effects. Now, I want to get into some examples of projects and collaborations that we've done to show how we've been able to kind of not only launch our own label, but invite brands into this space. So this was a pair of glasses that actually was created by Weekday, which is a brand under the H&M group. This is a physical pair of glasses, and we created a digital twin. So this is something that you could actually buy, mint on chain, and access an AR filter. So here we see the item on the right that is the physical version, and here we see the filter being worn by Adriana, one of our founders. And the really cool thing about this activation was we actually sold a lot more digital only. They were definitely cheaper than the physical, for sure. But what was really interesting is that the brand could go beyond just selling, here's the physical collection. They could actually access a larger group of people to wear the filter. And the cool thing about this filter too was it had an effect. So it wasn't just the physical, it was like a layer on top of that. The other campaign I want to talk about, collaboration we did, was with Highsnobiety for the Not in Paris yearly activation they do, where they bring together a whole host of brands and designers to create around this theme. So there was this beautiful jacket that they actually created, a physical jacket, and we were asked to kind of remix it in 3 different ways digitally and then to sell digital-only items. There was a space, this is actually the Highsnobiety store in Paris, where they had all the designers, including a video of our item where people could try on the filters. And this is actually the jacket in action as an AR filter. So when you bought the jacket, you'd receive a filter that would animate. And here you kind of see there were 3 different jackets actually, each with a unique effect. So again, it's like, how can we enhance the storytelling of that garment, of that item, by adding this extra digital layer? Now, the next one I'm talking about is actually a collaboration we did with Tommy Hilfiger. So Tommy, again, we're trying to push, this is called the Limitless Collection, and what they were trying to do was really push the boundaries of, they had created a physical collection, and they wanted to create like a digital twin and another version that kind of pushed the boundaries of what could be achieved in the metaverse. So we worked with them, they designed the physical, and we designed all the Limitless pieces, and they actually created an entire experience. I'll let this play. So this was a world that they built in spatial, where people could actually come and wear all the garments. They could play games, they could interact with people in real time in a multiplayer setting, win all kinds of things. And yeah, this was something that they just launched, Tommy Limitless. And what was really interesting about this was kind of the interplay between the digital and the physical. And again, we see a lot of people engaging with the digital just because it is more accessible, but then having that chance to play with the item in a virtual way, in a kind of very accessible, low-cost way, does help lead people to the physical item or kind of build a different relationship for the brand. Also being able to create a virtual world allows the brand to really express their story in a much richer and deeper way and creates a space for the community to connect. Now, what I'm going to show you next is actually a collaboration, our own collection that we did with Vogue. Now, these were pieces, accessories we call them. They started with X though. And they were all AR filters. So as you can see, this looks really realistic, but it's actually a digital-only piece. It was never made physically. We did a photo shoot with Vogue with a model, and then we dressed all the models digitally. And these videos aren't playing, I'm sorry, but they're all AR filters. So all of these items you could actually buy and wear in AR, which for us was really a powerful moment to show that in Vogue were kind of selling digital-only items that could be worn in AR. This is actually a second collaboration we did with Vogue. The first one, we were actually on the cover with a QR code that people could take a photo of and immediately wear what was on the cover of Vogue in AR. So just like that immediacy, that tangibility is really powerful and something, again, that brands can use to kind of invite people in. The next collaboration is with Caterpillar, which is a shoe company that you might associate actually with more industrial workman wear. But they wanted to kind of launch a shoe that would actually connect to the Gen Z audience. And what they wanted to do was create, obviously, the physical shoe. They created 4 types. And then we worked with them to create what they'd call an enhanced metaverse shoe. So this was a shoe, it was gifted to creators all around the world. So they had the physical. There was an AR activation too. And on top of that, we designed like a digital-only version with special effects and things like that that you could only really experience in a virtual space. So these are all layers that you can kind of build in and share in the virtual space using web3 technology, make it scalable, make it accessible. And these are the AR filters too. Now, ITHK, so this was an interesting project. Again, I just want to kind of talk about how this also gets into the retail space by brands and retailers really being able to use digital and Web3 technology to sell items and then validate that and kind of authenticate it. So really this was ITHK is a department store in Hong Kong, and they wanted to set up a space in airports and different areas without having to ship the clothes everywhere. So we actually worked with them to create this physical display of all these screens of the items that people could actually buy on the spot and then have them shipped to them, but just creating that immersive buying experience with high quality digital fashion really helped them sell and also reduce their own costs and waste of having to ship things around the world. Now, Adidas, this was a really cool campaign we actually did with Carly Kloss. She launched a clothing line with Adidas, and there was one jacket that she wanted to give away to the community for free. So we helped kind of create a 3D version of this jacket that we delivered the files to our community of fashion creators and invited them to actually come and co-create and design remix. We call them remix challenges, basically. And we got hundreds of designers actually submitting all kinds of variations of this jacket with unique storytelling, unique visuals. And the selected winners, we actually helped them mint their pieces on an art market, known origin, taught them all about NFTs, taught them how to kind of start their own, art, to sell their own art. And actually all of them were able to make money from selling their art using this piece of remix fashion. This is another really powerful thing that Web3 enables. How creators, we can kind of give our files out to creators, they can kind of create their own, that layer of economy that sits on top of it. And that's something that we're really trying to enable. All of our collections now, we do give out 3D files. Speaking of all our collections, I've got a couple of minutes, so I'm just going to rush through this. Primal Rave is our latest collection. It is, I'd say, our most ambitious collection to date. It's 6 pieces. Full looks and shoes, and we actually created a fashion film. So I think for us, I'm going to play this fashion film. It runs for a minute, so. So that was our fashion film, and maybe some of you are wondering, what did you just watch? So this was a collection that we launched, and we really wanted to push the boundaries of fashion storytelling and show that digital-only fashion can be just as powerful and moving as the physical fashion world in their storytelling, because that's really what fashion is known for. It's storytelling. It's, the influence it has emotionally on us. Now, in that film, all those pieces are pieces that you can mint directly on our site. You'll access the files, the 3D files, the AR filters, even metaverse wearables. The film itself is also something that we are also going to auction and allow for people to mint, so they can own a piece of that as well. And so for us, it's really about pushing the boundaries of how we can really change the fashion industry, make sure that everyone gets a piece of it, everyone that is involved gets a piece of it, but also showing that it can be a really powerful way for storytelling, for moving, not only for people that are really focused in digital worlds and virtual worlds, but connecting to a physical world. So I think the last thing I want to leave you with, because I've just run out of time, is we do have these free digital boots that you can mint on our site. They come with the 3D files as well. If you go to the QR code or just thefabricant.com, it doesn't work. Of course, go to thefabricant.com/primal rave. And join the movement. I think, and I've got a wrap, but if anyone has any questions, I'll be hanging around and happy to talk about digital fashion. Thank you.